Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Canberra Football Show, episode 98. Episode 97 was an interview with special guest Darren Bailey from Yoogali Soccer Club as they sealed promotion to the NPL for next season and won the CPL League title last weekend. So I think that went up on about Thursday. You can see that on the podcast feeds, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and whatnot. Great story there from Yoogali, of course, joining the competition, like we mentioned, 3 years ago, taking place at the Riverina Rhinos, and 3 years later, they have got up to the big dance, as they say. But, Michael, we're here to talk everything finals week 1 of NPL and CPL. No NPLW today because as you remember from last week when we mentioned that the NPLW matches will be played tomorrow as of this recording coming out and Thursday. And then obviously preliminary final will be on the weekend as well. So next week's episode, we'll review both the qualification and the elimination final or semi-finals, however you want to call it. And then, of course, a preliminary final. So we'll have an extra bit of NPLW next week. So today's just NPL and CPL. And Michael, on that account, we definitely had some finals football, didn't we? Some absolutely dramatic moments and some fantastic football.
Yeah, we most certainly did, Matt. You know, it was pretty much what you would expect finals football to be. You know, you had, games being played, in close quarters, games that went to, penalty shootouts. It had absolutely everything, Matt, between sort of the NPL and CPL games. All the games were very, very competitive, very, very close, which we will sort of break down over the course of the episode. But nevertheless, I'll kick things off in the NPL scene, Matt. It was Canberra Olympic up against Canberra Croatia in this contest. It was 0-0 after extra time, where then Canberra Croatia kept their nerve to go on and win 3-1 on penalties. So that means that they will play in the preliminary final in the next match. It was a complete contrast, obviously, to the game that we witnessed, very recently, Matt, between Croatia and Olympic, where, Canberra Croatia ran absolutely riot on Canberra Olympic. Despite the fact that we knew Olympic were resting players, particularly for this game, and you could obviously tell how much of an influence those players that missed out last time due to various reasons proved to be so crucial. And that's why it was such a close game in this one. It was an intense 90 minutes and extra time as neither side could break the deadlock, Matt. And I think at that point, when you reach the penalty shootout stage, you're sort of hoping for your big name players to step up or an individual to really, take the game by the scruff of the neck and win the match for their team in the shootout. And that's exactly what Canberra Croatia keeper Sam Brown did in this game, Matt. He was the shootout hero on this occasion. He saved 2 penalties from Lucas Flores and Cale Brown, while Eli Darwich was unable to find the target with his spot kick in the shootout. But aside from his very good performance in the penalty shootout, he also made some great saves, Matt, during the 90 minutes and extra time, obviously, as well. But in particular, he made a great save from Thomas James from the spot earlier in the contest. And he also blocked another effort from Thomas James in the second half of the game. And at the other end, it was another fine goalkeeping performance as well from Seb Usti. He made some great saves as well. And he can also be very thankful for his covering defense, as there were multiple clearances sort of / efforts made in this game to prevent goals being scored in the Olympic net. So both defenses were really on point in this game, Matt. They didn't want to let anything up, not leave any holes for the other team to exploit. And it was ultimately Canberra Croatia, like I said at the top, Matt, that ultimately kept their nerve to win the shootout 3-1, and it means now that they will play Gungahlin United in the preliminary final next time out. That's going to be a sensational game of football, Matt. It was obviously a tough contest for Canberra, Croatia to get through, having to go all the way to penalties just to get through to this prelim stage. But it's a great result for them. And we've talked about it over the years. They're so used to being in situations like this, especially when it comes down to finals. So you would have, thought that experience was probably going to prevail them on this occasion. And it literally came down to, a penalty shootout that made all the difference in this game for Canberra, Croatia to go through to the next stage. But, all in all, it was a fantastic season for Canberra Olympic as well. They certainly had some highlights. They had a great year, obviously making the top 4. So plenty of positives for them to take out of this campaign moving into the 2024 season, where they'll be back better than ever, I am sure. And nevertheless, Matt, we'll move on to the next match that was played in finals football in NPL. Again, it was a very close contest, albeit this one didn't go to extra time or penalties like the Olympic and Canberra Croatia game. But it was a very good game nevertheless.
Look, it certainly was, and it was O'Connor Knights 2-1 victors over Gungahlin United in the qualification final. 2 goals scored in the first half in this one. The match was a little bit delayed at first, of course, due to the previous encounter going all the way to penalties. Gungahlin were the first to break the deadlock 7 minutes into the encounter with a dream start through none other than Max Green. Great team play to lead to the goal. Shandon Whitehead retrieved the ball just outside his own box, made a darting run, passed it to Anthony Timotheo, and then Timotheo passed it back to Whitehead as he burst down the left, cut across, burst down that left flank. And by the time he retrieved that ball that I just mentioned before, he put a great low cross for Max Green, who struck it for the opening goal. This is Max Green's 22nd goal of the NPL campaign, leading the goal scoring charts by 2 over Stephen Dominici. And of course, those two play each other next week, as we'll mention again a little bit later. 6 minutes later into this one, the league champions struck back with a great piece of team play of their own. Connor Bill began the play with the ball over the top to, I believe it was Regan Walsh, who took control and put a fantastic through ball for Keddy Manda to run onto it. And in the meantime, Ihegi made a run on the inside, which Manda cut across for him, and Ihegi finished it in the back of the net. This was Ihegi's 12th goal of the NPL campaign, tied 4th on the goal scoring charts with a number of other players. Michael Adams scored the only goal of the second half in the 70th minute as Daniel Roberts tenaciously won back the ball from Riley Brown just outside the box, and later through ball for Adams to sweep through and take the lead. This was Adams' 12th goal of the campaign, and similarly to Asosa Ihegi, is tied 4th with a number of other players in the comp. A very professional performance from O'Connor in the second half to see out the victory. They defended well. They didn't budge on Gungahlin. They kept trying to create chances, and they took their main opportunity. Despite the bright start to the match and the strong first half, they just weren't able to best O'Connor in the second half, were Gungahlin. This isn't the end for them, though, as they face off with Canberra, Croatia this weekend in the preliminary final. And the winner of that, of course, goes to the grand final to face the O'Connor Knights. As I mentioned before, such a professional performance from O'Connor in this one. Russ said on commentary it was a performance of champions, a very apt way of putting it, I thought. Very good description there from Russ. O'Connor now take a well-earned week off as they have advanced to the grand final on the 23rd of December from Deakin Stadium, where they will play, as I mentioned before, the winner of Croatia against Gungahlin. O'Connor has also kept their undefeated streak alive as they have not lost since round 7, and I'm sure they'll be looking to make that another win and a grand final victory. We'll have to wait and see, though, but they won't want to end their winning streak anytime soon when you're on the cusp of getting another title. So we'll have to wait and see in 2 weeks for that one. But first, Michael, I mentioned the preliminary final between Gungahlin and Croatia. Let us know where that one's being played and what time.
All right, Matt. As we talked about earlier, the preliminary final that will take place for NPL this coming weekend will be Gungahlin United up against Canberra, Croatia, Saturday, September 16, 7 p.m. at Riverside Stadium out in Queanbeyan. So if you want to go watch a quality game of football and see who will claim their place in the 2023 NPL Grand Final, you better be sure to get out there and go watch a fantastic game of football. Two quality sides, Matt, playing for a position in this year's final. So that's going to be a fantastic game, even for the neutral to go and sort of watch this game. So we'll be keeping a close eye on it, and we'll see who the O'Connor Knights will meet in the 2023 NPL Grand Final.
We certainly will. And as mentioned before, for our NPLW segment, no matches as they're being played on Wednesday and Thursday tomorrow as of this recording coming out. So we will talk about those NPLW semi-finals as well as the preliminary final on next week's episode. I'll just quickly go over the fixtures before we move on to CPL. We have the NPLW qualification semi-final 1v2 Canberra Olympic versus Belconnen United, Wednesday, September 13th from Deakin Stadium at 7 p.m. Then we have the elimination semi-final, Canberra Croatia against Gungahlin United, Thursday, September 14th, 7 p.m. at Deakin Stadium. And then we have the preliminary final. It's the loser of 1v2 versus the winner of 3v4. Sunday, September 17th, 4 p.m. at Greenway Enclosed.
Some fantastic matches on display there, Matt, for NPLW, without a doubt. It's going to be very interesting to see what the outcome will be for each of those matches, obviously just because of how close NPLW was this season. So even if you think there's a favourite going into those matches, don't be surprised if the other team comes out with the victory. It just goes to show how competitive the league, particularly in the top four, it was this year in NPLW. But nevertheless, Matt, that will be a topic for the next time we are on the show. We will move forward now to CPL action, where Yoogali, the 2023 CPL League champions, were defeated by Queanbeyan City 2-1 in this game, Matt. On the score sheet for Queanbeyan, it was Abbott and Petrovsky, and for Yoogali, it was Priest. First and foremost, what a game this was for Queanbeyan. You know, we talked about the mental side of it in terms of having known they didn't clinch promotion this season and what sort of effect that would take on them heading into finals. But it looks like they've, you know, put that in the back of their mind per se, because there's nothing they can do about it now. They've just got to go out there and, you know, the next best thing is to try and claim the CPL Grand Final, and that's what they set to do from this moment onwards, having picked up a win over Yoogali. All the goals came in the first half, Matt, of this game, and Abbott gave Queanbeyan the lead 20 minutes in when he converted from the spot. And Matt, this is his 21st goal of the season in CPL. It just goes to show how prolific he has been and how important he has been to this Queanbeyan City outfit. Absolutely amazing stuff from Nico Abbott. And then we had the league champions, Yoogali, who through Priest struck back 8 minutes later in the 28th minute after he struck the ball in the back of the net, thanks to a cross from none other than Darren Bailey, the man who you spoke to, Matt, in our recent episode. And then Queanbeyan, they retook the lead, Matt, 2 minutes before the break, thanks to a headed goal from Vasco Petrovsky to make it 2-1. And that's ultimately how this game would finish, as Queanbeyan sealed their place in the grand final, Matt. Like I said, it was a great result for them. Exactly what they needed to do, considering they weren't able to clinch promotion to the NPL next season. They'll be going all out to try and at least get that grand final trophy. You know, Yoogali, though, they certainly had some shouts in this game, Matt. One for a penalty, and then they actually had a goal chalked off as well due to a foul in the lead up to the goal being scored. So, you know, a couple of moments there where things necessarily may not have gone Yoogali's way. Nevertheless, Queanbeyan, they really held their nerve in this one to overcome those sort of barriers or whatever you want to call it, instances in the game that could have went against them, and they held their nerve to ultimately hang on and win the game. And they'll be playing in the 2023 NPL Grand Finals. So a fantastic moral boosting win for them. And for Yoogali, we know the main goal was achieved for them, and I doubt very highly that now is the time where they're not going to take things as serious. You know, you always want to win more trophies. You know, you've got the league championship that they've already got, and you've, you know, obviously got a grand final to also try and win as well. So 2 trophies are better than 1 if you want to sort of look at it that way. So they'll be definitely be ready and motivated to get back into their next match to try and get a place and a possible rematch against Queanbeyan to seek a bit of revenge. Matt, do you want to get into our next match? Because this was absolutely astonishing, this game, wasn't it, Matt? It had goals, drama, and, you know, I'll let you sort of break down the rest because I won't do it justice. It was a great result for a particular outfit.
Yeah, look, it was a great result for ANU as they have eliminated Brindabella Blues 3-2 in this one in the elimination semi-final. ANU, as we'll mention a little bit later, will go on to play Yoogali in the preliminary final. I was there commentating on this one with Russ Gibbs at Deakin Stadium, and it was awesome to have both these semi-finals line up on Bar TV for CPL. So well done to everyone for getting putting that together. Now, ANU opened the scoring 23 minutes into the contest as they went for a short corner to Max Model, who went for the cross. Chase Dean's got a flick on it as it rolled through a crowd of players to Eden Chudthorpe to bury it in the back of the net. Despite the close first half, really close chances were few and far between as the Brindis had a shot which was saved onto the post, and Nick Hope for ANU struck the crossbar before the end of the first stanza. They were the really clear-cut chances, bar the goal in this first half. And despite being denied in the first half, Nick Hope wasn't to be denied with his attempt in the 63rd minute. Spears received the ball outside the box on the far side as he neatly weaved around his marker before pulling it back across goal, and I believed it touched someone possibly before it rolled into the path of Nick Hope to smack it home with a low bullet into the right side of the netting. Really nice goal here. The Brindis knew their chances were sparse at this point due to ANU hitting on all cylinders, so they needed to take their opportunities when they came, and in the 72nd minute, they did just that. Munoz put a great ball over the top for Schaefer, who I believe hit it off his chest. And as he did that, Keegan Jackson was coming in to try and make the save, except he missed it. And in his attempt to save it, and Schaefer continued the run around him and put it in the back of the net to half the deficit for his side. The player who opened the scoring, Chudthorpe, brought down his marker, resulting in a penalty 2 minutes from time, which none other than Curtis Schaefer stepped up to convert and level it for his side while bagging his brace. This is also takes his goal scoring tally to 12 goals for the CPL campaign with this penalty. And as soon as it looked like it was heading into extra time and the drama was done for full time, there was more drama later on into this one, into stoppage time. Hassan Al-Nuasir hit a shot which deflected off Ritson's, and it bounced back onto Al-Nuasir and off him and into the back of the net. So delight for ANU, heartbreak for the Brindis to concede like that after fighting back to bring the game back to level scoring. So now Brindabella's Blues' season is over with that stoppage time goal from Al Nuasir. They will definitely be proud of the fight they showed in this one to get back into this contest. However, they will not be competing in the grand final this year like they did last year. ANU were terrific, I thought, throughout a lot of this match. And plus, it's never easy to score late on as the pressure was on, as you've just conceded a 2-goal lead and about to enter extra time. That's when the pressure's highest. So to score in that moment, not very easy. They will be playing the league champions Yoogali next weekend for the opportunity to face Queanbeyan City in the CPL Grand Final on Sunday, 24th of September at Riverside. One hell of a match there. Commiserations to Brindabella and congratulations to ANU. What a match that was, and it once again shows the excitement that CPL brings. And as we've said, there's going to be another match before the grand final on Bar TV this weekend. Michael, what is that matchup?
Yeah, Matt, that match is Yoogali up against ANU Saturday, September 16th, 4 p.m. at Riverside. So, I mean, we've got some great games on display at Riverside this coming weekend, Matt, across CPL and NPL, obviously. So, 2 fantastic games. Can't wait to see how those matches unfold and respectively which teams get into their competition grand finals. So it's going to be great to break it all down next time on the show.
It certainly will be. Michael, any last words as we head off for this episode? A little bit shorter, of course, as there was no NPLW, but we'll be back at it next week with extra games.
Yeah, looking forward to I think in particular, seeing what happens in the NPLW landscape. Matt, obviously the games are being played midweek, and we obviously haven't seen any of the action being played yet, but we'll have the opportunity to break it all down next time on the show. Obviously, a little bit different when we've got CPL and NPL football already underway in terms of finals. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with NPLW, because like I said earlier, Matt, those top 4 sides, anyone can win the competition in my eyes. In terms of the grand final, sorry. That's what I meant by the competition. So they're going to be very close games. I mean, you obviously got Canberra Olympic and Belconnen United. That's going to be a cracker, and Canberra Croatia and Gungahlin United won't be any different. So very keen to see the outcomes of those games. And like I mentioned just a short time ago, we get to break it all down next time on the show as we edge closer to 100 episodes of the show.
Yeah, not far off that now. 2 episodes off. Michael, thanks for joining me again today. We will be back next week with episode 99, covering those 3 NPLW matches and the NPL and the CPL preliminary finals as we are etching ever closer to the grand finals. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. That was episode 98 of the Canberra Football Show. Enjoy your week, and more importantly, enjoy the football.